he just sent a serious message to the entire NBA. As Scottie Barnes has been catching a lot of strays, some disrespect across the league, and in his final game of this year, really sent a message for what's to come for next season. But it wasn't just him, as a lot of guys that got out there on the court for the Toronto Raptors in the final game, the final stretch of the season, played very solid. And even though the Raptors did lose to the San Antonio Spurs, there were a few things that really should get Raptors fans excited. A little bit of momentum picking up going into next year for some specific players. So we're going to break down what's going on with this team, how we can reflect on this season here now at this point, but most importantly, what Scottie Barnes just did to really put the NBA on notice in terms of heading into next year. So lots of stuff to break down in this video, but folks, Game 82 is over, and I appreciate every single one of you that tuned into the videos over the course of this season. Of course, wasn't the greatest season for the Toronto Raptors, but we cover it all. We give you daily Toronto Raptors news coverage. So this offseason should be a pretty wild one as we try to get back into the playoff picture for next year. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Join the community. You know, Raptors Digest videos don't slow down despite the Raptors going off air. But let's dive into it because we got our final game to react to and, break down because the Toronto Raptors lost this game 118 to 125. They were up for a big chunk of it. The third quarter was a messy situation, but I'm not worried about this game. I'm not worried about standings. I'm not worried about any of that because all that's done here now at this point. What I'm worried about is what we just saw from Scottie Barnes, who had one of his best games of the season, 35 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists. Did have 4 turnovers, which is unfortunate, all that stuff, but 15 of 23 shooting, 2 of 2 from the three-point line, 3 of 4 from the free throw line because that was a big issue in the most recent game against the Mavericks. Scottie Barnes just gave a flash, just gave an indication, just sent a message to the entire NBA about what he's going to be able to do going into next year. And I want this brought up because, of course, I've been outspoken on the videos about how I don't want RJ Barrett traded. I'm excited for Brandon Ingram. And Scottie Barnes, yes, it has been overall a disappointing season for Scottie Barnes. And 19 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. You look at that and you say, Ben, why? Some people are like, Ben, that's more than a disappointment. He's a max contract guy. Be harder on the guy. Then I also have people, 19, 8, and 6 for a guy that's 23 years old. He's a budding star in the league. What else do you expect? And I think there's a middle ground with Scottie Barnes because, of course, we all want that three-point shooting to increase. We want that to improve. The overall percentages, only shooting 26% from the three-point line this season is not good enough for a guy that's going to be your star A1 piece out there on the wing. But he does do a lot of stuff really well. It was a tumultuous year for the Toronto Raptors in general, so I'm not discouraged about the future, about the potential of Scottie Barnes, but he didn't take that superstar leap that I think a lot of people were hoping was going to be the case over the course of this year. So that's a reality of what's going on with Scottie Barnes. But the thing is, if he plays with the level of assertiveness, if he plays with the level of drive, and heck, the shooting touch that he showed, whether it was these little turnaround floaters, whether it was these, of course, three-point shots that he was taking, if he's playing like this, going into next season, you integrate Brandon Ingram into this lineup, you have RJ Barrett, you have Immanuel Quickley actually playing a full season of basketball, Jakob Poeltl out there on the basketball court, the up-and-coming impending bench mob that is being constructed out here on this team. We have to see what happens the offseason. We have to see, and sure, Brandon Ingram's ankle injury gets healthy, but this should be a playoff team next year. There's no more tank. There's no more silliness that should be going on in the back half of these seasons. The Toronto Raptors are, from this day forward, all about wins, are all about getting W's, all about doing things to win now at this point. I know it's year one of the rebuild. We're looking for young guys to develop, but Scottie Barnes, RJ Barrett, it's not like all these guys are 18, 19, 20 years old. They are 23, 24, 25, getting paid big contracts. We just brought in Brandon Ingram. Jakob Poeltl's 30. This is now the time. This previous season, develop the young guys, Shead, Jameson Battle, Jonathan Mobo, these types of guys, mold them, build them, do this, do that. Next year is win now mode. And Scottie Barnes playing at this type of level, of course, I don't expect him to average 35 a game next season, but playing with this level of assertiveness, aggression, heck, even on the defensive end, he was out there. And I saw people say, oh, why is he playing so intense? He's dealing with injuries and he's out there, hustling out there basketball. I love seeing that from Scottie Barnes. Everyone, I understand what Darko, Rajaković, what Masai, Ujiri's doing, not pushing Ingram back the back half of this year, having guys rest. We haven't seen that from Scottie Barnes. And some people say, oh, it's stupid, you're risking injury, you're risking that. No, we need our young guys to be out there on the basketball court, developing, playing hard, getting these reps in. And the one thing, and regardless if you want to be cynical, be like, oh, he's trying to get all NBA awards or all NBA nods. That's one way I've seen people talk about it, but realistically, I'm looking at Scottie Barnes as a competitor that's actually going out there on the court and playing hard, playing intense, and playing that. And I'm just excited for that future outlook of the season. Of course, the three-point shooting needs to improve. Of course, there are a lot of things that do need to develop, but Scottie Barnes coming out and put it in 35, 11, and 8. He deserves praise, deserves credit. And frankly, an NBA should be scared of that version of Scottie Barnes. So that's a huge positive there in tonight's game. Jamison Battle also in 42 minutes of action, had 7 threes, was really hot early in this game, cooled off as the game did go along, but had 25 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. And I like the aggression that he's playing with. Had 5 personal fouls and stuff, but 9 boards. You can tell he's trying to prove that he is more than just a three-point shooter. And of course, took 15 threes in tonight's game, so that is one thing to look at. But he's been doing better as of late, taking people off the dribble, making some drives and stuff. But I don't know. I'm impressed with Jamison Battle. I think he's a very solid three-point shooter. Even though the higher volume, the percentages have gone down, I'm very encouraged by Jamison Battle this season. I'm encouraged by Jonathan Mobo this season, who, of course, the jump shooting would be nice to go in. It would have had another triple-double, but couldn't break the 10-point mark, 9 points. 10 assists, 14 rebounds, 4 steals. A guy that fills up the stat sheet, man. He fills up the stat sheet in very unorthodox ways. The youngins, they're looking like the Raptors got a nice batch. Even Jamal Shead, who struggled with his jump shot in the past couple of games, 11 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, doing his thing out there on the basketball court. Of course, the Raptors did have a bit too many turnovers to deal with fouls. I'm not too stressed about all this. I'm looking at the individual development, individual players, and seeing how people are coming out and playing. So, Ochai Agbaji after his last big game, 14 points, 4 steals, playing well on defense, but lots of foul trouble from the Raptors in this game. But other than that, we got some Colin Castleton, who clearly has a better touch around the rim than Orlando Robinson had, but rebounding and stuff, it was a solid game. I'm not jumping to conclusions too much with Castleton, but we'll see if he ends up making the roster after this year. As, of course, he just signed a multi-year contract, but the second back half of that contract is not guaranteed. So, nice to see him get a little bit of run. Did foul out in this one in 29 minutes of action, but the Raptors were to, still do Chris Boucher. We'll be talking a lot about Chris Boucher over the next few weeks, I'd imagine. But AJ Lawson as well, playing very solid for this team. Again, you'd want to see him knock down a bit more three-point shots. The summer is going to be huge for him to, increase those percentages as a three-point shooter. But plays with intensity, plays with a lot of defense, grit, was getting to the rim a ton, had shot 7 free throws in this game, which is a nice positive for him. 14 points overall. Good stuff out there from this Raptors team, despite the loss and messy end of the stretch. But, of course, the Toronto Raptors this season, we can kind of do a little official recap now in terms of everything that's going on. The Raptors finished with the 7th worst record in the NBA, so they have the 7th best odds to get Cooper Flag. The NBA draft lottery is on May 12th, so about a month from recording. So we'll all have our eyes peeled for that specific date, because the Raptors, their most likely draft pick will end up being the 8th overall selection, but there's a significant chance they jump into the top 4. There's a significant chance, they're around 7. It's going to be tough for them to fall below 9. So it's, we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening for this Raptors group, but make sure you guys stay tuned to Raptors Digest, because there's going to be a lot of press conferences, there's going to be a lot of quotes, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out over the next little while, especially as we inch closer to May and June, the draft free agency. So hit that subscribe button to Raptors Digest. We'll be still delivering you all the latest Raptors coverage. Anyways, rough season, but I'm excited for the future of this organization. But you guys are the best. I'm signing out. Cheers.